I can stay away from you. I can stay away from you. I try to. I can stay away from you. I can't love you no more.
When I was 16, my whole world was turned upside down. I made one of the most horrific decisions in my life, and it cost me. I was charged with first-degree murder, armed robbery with a firearm, and sentenced to 2 natural life terms in prison without the possibility of parole. And I've served 31 years in prison. What's up, y'all? This JD, Cross City CI. Yes, Cross City CI, y'all. That's where we left off at. That's what we finna get to. Man, Cross City CI was a trip. When I say it was a trip on every level, but I loved it. I love Cross City. Cross City wasn't a camp that everybody could go to. You know, people was getting killed there. People was getting stabbed there. People was coming up there. And man, people was getting rolled over every day. And if you wasn't up on yourself, you was gonna be a victim and not a survivor. And I wasn't a victim, but let you know that right now. When I got to Cross City, everything was going on. I mean, I looked around, the camp was so open, it was so beautiful. You had plants here, you had bushes here, you had big trees, you had shade everywhere, and I'm just looking around, and I'm like, dang, I don't see no gates, and I don't see no fences. Ain't nothing stopping me from walking from here to here, even though I knew not to go in that grass, because anywhere you go in the Department of Correction, do not step on the grass. And do not step outside the yellow line. Because if you step outside that yellow line, in some institutions, you going to jail. They going to drag you just by that little yellow line. So please, stay on the right side of the breezeway. Anyway, let me stop talking James Hank, because I'm free right now, y'all. But man, Cross City I met so many good people there. I mean, I met so many good criminals. These dudes was unbelievable. I mean, that place taught me that, you know, it was some inmates that's meant to be free. But there's some inmates that needs to be locked up. Absolutely. They need to stay there. These dudes are off the chain. And I witnessed that. When I first came to Cross City, I bumped with this dude named Jesse. Jesse was a good bunkie, real good bunkie, man. You know, Jesse was tall. He looked like he was an African. He was tall, slim. You know, you see the veins all up in his head, all the way to his neck. Jesse was cool with people, and the first day I moved up in the cell with him, you know, I'm filling him out, I'm checking him out. You know, wondering what this dude about, trying to figure out if I should, you know, need to protect myself tonight or whatever. And I felt kind of safe. When we cut off that light, when he cut off the lights for the night when we locked down, about 30 minutes later, man, I started feeling stuff. I'm like, man, what the heck? And I'm starting hitting stuff on my arms and stuff. So when I woke up and I looked around the cell, the whole cell was moving. So I'm like, man, what the hell is this? Man, it was roaches coming in and out of every hole on the bed, on the wall, on the ceiling. I was like, oh, God. So I jumped down off the bunk. You know, I put on my shoes. You know, I went to killing roaches left and right. And you talking about, man, you might well let them bitches real, man. You know, they ain't gonna hurt you, man. They gonna just crawl right over you. I'm like, what? Man, you got me messed up. Listen, I ain't go to sleep none that night. None. Man, that next day I went to education. When I went to school, I don't know if I bought this or stole it. Please don't quote me on this here. But I came up with some tape, and I taped every hole in that cell. I taped every hole in there. I ain't care where it was at. Box, floor, window. Yeah, I ain't care where it was. It was still when the officer walked past there, all he saw was tape. And man, when dude came in the cell, I looked at him in my eyes. I said, man, you better not say not one word is going down up in this joker. And he ain't say not one word. He got him in his butt, I got up in my mind, and I slept. And I said, man, I know I'm gonna see some babies creep out of somewhere. But I ain't see no babies. So I kept our cell like that for about 2 weeks. And then I let it breathe a little bit. And man, dead roaches was coming everywhere. They were falling everywhere. Then a dude stepped to me, a white boy. He was like, man, listen. He said, man, why you doing stuff? Why you taping up your whole room, man? Let me give you the trick to the trade. So I'm like, what you talking about? He said, man, you don't know about this here? I'm like, what? He said, man, get me a bag of corn chips. So I'm like, man, I ain't. He said, man, get you a bag of corn chips, we'll split it. So I'm like, man, you know, it's some fast talking dudes in prison. You gotta watch what you talking about when you talking around them. And you gotta watch what they say. So the dude opened up the bag of chips and we ate, you know. After that, he said, leave a couple of crumbs in the bottom of it. So I left him at the bottom of it. He said, take this tape and stick it to the back of your locker. So I did that. And he said, just, you know, trust me on this. That next morning, the bottom of the bag was filled with roaches. I'm like, what? I said, how you do this here? He said, I'm telling you, man, they can come into the bag, but the grease at the bottom of them won't let them slip out. Man, I had roach traps everywhere now. And you know what? I came up because I was selling the roaches to the people that was catching the lizards on the compound. For a bag of soup, for a bag of roaches. So a nigga even sold roaches in the chain gang. That's a trip there, but that's a throwback down memory lane. But anyway, my cell was completely clean of roaches. And I was ready to get my buggy up out of there too because he was used to these roaches. And if you tolerate that type of stuff, ain't no telling what's in your mind. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, as I got into Cross City and start understanding where I was at, you know, how to move, you know, what police was what. Because, listen, this is me, you know, coming from paradise in South Bay. And, you know, I'm coming back to prison. I'm talking about hardcore down, we gonna kill you prison, yeah. In the state of Florida. That's why I was coming back to. So, you know, I had to be up on myself. I had to have my wits about myself. You know, I was a new man in my thinking and in my walking. I was a new man, you know, but it was only one thing that I couldn't get my head on. It was my freedom. I couldn't get my hand on my freedom. I started making money at Cross City too. You know, the state of Florida decided they was gonna give us MP3s. And guess what? I took my MP3 and started putting music on it. Yes, I did. I think it was one of the worst mistakes I ever made because it graduated to other things that I'm not gonna talk about because I ain't trying to have the people come get me like that. But anyway, yeah, I started making a lot of money at Cross City. Things was going exactly where I wanted to go. Everything was lovely, man. I started meeting people because I was, you know, meeting the need of the compound. You know, even the officers, they got used to seeing my face. You know, because I kept talking to them, you know, I was open to them. And all this came from me talking to so many officers at South Bay. You know, a lot of that stuff I talked about, you know, I learned it from there. And I opened up the same type of dialogue there. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I was doing all this here, being sneaky, being creepy and all this other stuff. It was something working its way through my heart. And I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it at the time. You know, but I know it's connected to me being free. It was connected to me free. Every detail, every story of my life was connected to me being free. And I couldn't see it back then. But I see it now. And I seen it while I was being free. And I want you to see it too. I definitely want you to see it too. That's why I'm giving to you blood raw, everything. I want you to understand what I felt, what I saw, how I was thinking at the time, and my perception. I want you to see that because you're gonna be amazed at the miracle of me being free right now. In society, talking to you. That's right. And you know what? It all started at Cross City CI. I never intended to go to, never wanted to go to. Don't even think about it a lot. But it was one of the most important part of my existence in this world. And Cross City had its ups and its downs, but it had his frowns too. I seen a lot of stuff go down there. Anybody ever heard of black? Black is a drug. Yeah, it's like 2K. No, not 2K. K2, I'm tripping. Nah, I'm tripping like K2. Nah, black went to killing all the blacks, whites too. Every time you took a puff of that, you was falling out. I'm talking about, when I take a puff, I'm talking about this here. And you falling out. You out of there from this black. And man, so much stuff was going on. I had a partner, man, and I hate to say this on live TV, but this actually happened. You know, I ain't gonna say no names, but I had a partner, man, and this dude, I think he was in a choir with me in church. And he was at Cross City with me. And man, he let this old chain gang dude that been down all these years ask him, did he want to hit and smoke a black with him? And he told him, yeah. So my homeboy hit the black with the dude. And when my homeboy hit the black, guess what my homeboy did? He fell out in the dude's tail. Fell out. I'm talking about the black knocked him slap out. And you know what the whole dude did? He set the black down, tapped it out, the joint out, and he pulled out my homeboy pants, and he tore him up. I'm not going to get into the graphics with you, but you know what I'm talking about. So when my homeboy woke up, he woke up to foul, blood everywhere. Yeah, that tight. And he was mad at the world. I looked at him and I seen it in his eyes. I'm like, man, listen to me here. The introduction of K2 to the Department of Corrections. Now, I ain't introduced it, but somehow it had reached that compound and it was causing hell. My homeboy and his homeboy would end up stabbing this dude, the same old pop, and ended up getting transferred. I ain't seen him since. But that was a horror story there, man, that I wouldn't want to tell again or even feel. But I want to give it to my fans raw. I want to let y'all know what to behold and what's next in prison. If you chose to go there, if you choose to be the wise man to stay free. And that's what this show is about. It's about helping you, not me. I'm free right now. But it can help you be free. I guarantee it. Check this out. I love y'all. Peace and blessings. JD.